Hi. So barely 3 hours from now, the final day of the Edgbaston test is going to start, and we will witness the final act of this drama to find out how the drama is going to unfold. Whether India is going to achieve the most expected, the most anticipated, and the most deserving win that they should achieve based on the kind of overwhelming dominance they have been having right through the last 4 days, or whether that one inexplicable decision and decision making by the Indian team management led by Gautam Gambhir and Subman Gill is going to give an opportunity for England to escape, and that escape could actually have a huge psychological blow to India and turn the series completely upside down for India with only one way to go, that is a slide for India downward. We'll find out in around 8 to 9 hours from now, and let's just start the discussion and the analysis of how and why India are placed in the position where they are. Let's go by the positives. Yes, India has been dominating from the ball one, from the time when they were put into bat by Ben Stokes. Again, that was another instance where the English team management has taken some inexplicable decisions after winning the toss. They were lucky to escape at Headingley. They should have lost that test, but because of India's batting collapses and pathetic fielding, which you don't expect from a great test team like India every day, England escaped with a win. So a test match they should have lost, they won, but there was no learning for them. They were actually very stubborn, they were very arrogant, they were still sticking out their neck out saying that was the right decision to win the toss, put the opponent in the bat and give the first test of the batting on a batting paradise to the opponent batters and help them to up their psychological moral and the confidence and punish your bowlers on a flat pitch with the only rider that you could chase anything they would set for you on the fourth day, considering that you have the batters to really bully the opponents on a flat pitch. Remember, that is the operating word, the flat pitch, because you are banking on the fact that the pitch would be flat in the fourth innings or in the fourth and fifth day, and with nothing in assistance for the bowlers, you can really jump onto the opponent bowlers and chase down any target they set up. But then it is a flawed approach and it is a defensive approach. Your batting may be aggressive, it may be attacking, that baseball approach may be really the flavor of the season, but your overall approach to test match cricket is defensive, because this is not an approach I would expect from an Australian team, the all dominating Australian team, which always believes in winning and which always has confidence in their overall strength, to ever follow. They would never like to give their bowlers a chance to be slaughtered on a batting paradise and allow the opponents to put pressure with a heavy first innings score and then expect that in the fourth innings their team will go and chase down. Rather, they will have the confidence that if they can take the first test of a batting paradise and score heavily, then they have the bowlers to create havoc among any opponent bowling batting attack, even if it means an Indian attack. That's what they did in BGT also. Even though they lost Hazelwood, but right from the first day of the series to the last day, they went on with spicy pitches, with tasty pitches, because they believed that so what if their batters were struggling against Bumrah and co. They had the bowlers ultimately to overpower Indian batting and then create holes, and then once Indian batting was under pressure, they could win the series, and they won it. That's the confidence they had in their bowlers and in their batting also to some extent. But this English team is going with some bizarre approach. They have been as lucky just because they have been able to chase down 2 to 3 big scores in the last 2 years. That doesn't make them world beating time, because if that would have been the case, they would have been playing the WTC final. So that means they have been showing some glaring holes with their batting also at some points. But because of the hype and hoopla around those chases, those things have been suppressed, and that's the reason they took that chance in the Headingley test. And now people would forget that what kind of luck factor was played and what kind of glaring errors India did to give them that win. They should not have won that test, but again at Edgbaston they did the same mistake. This time India was not going to repeat the mistake. They didn't show that kind of batting collapse. They scored 587, and with that literally they killed the game. And then they showed that on a batting flat paradise pitch, their bowlers, Indian bowlers, can be better than England bowlers, because they have been used to playing on those flat pitches in India, And once they got in Akashdeep, and Siraj started performing brilliantly as the main lead bowler in the absence of Bumrah, then there was havoc. And the fact that England lost 5 wickets for 85 in the first innings in the top of the order, and also another 5 in the bottom in the tail with 20 runs, that shows that how Indian bowlers were creating havoc with the new ball. Yes, the fact remains is that Brook and Smith showed that this pitch, this Edgbaston pitch is completely a new ball pitch. So once the ball gets 25-year-old, then there is nothing left for the bowlers to utilize, and that's where they had that iconic 303-run partnership, which was so entertaining, so glorifying, and so fantastic. And that's where they punished the Indian bowlers. But again, the moment that second new ball came, the Indian bowlers showed how good they were compared to the England bowlers in both the innings. So yes, this time it looks clearly that England had taken that wrong decision, and they are going to pay a price, because India is in a driving seat once again with Akashdeep and Siraj creating havoc among the England batters in the second innings, also reducing them to 72 for 3. And now with 535 runs still behind the target, England looks completely down and out, because their option of they winning is gone now. So there is only possibly two outcomes: a win for India, which is the most overwhelmingly favorite outcome, and or a draw for the series or the test. And if that happens, that's where the Indian team management's glaring error comes into the picture, because there was no need for India to wait for a 607 runs lead before declaring, only giving them 108 overs to dismiss England, because 108 overs may be significant number of overs in any other pitch, but India would know that even on a pitch where they had reduced England to 84 for 5 with almost all the top order batters back in the pavilion, and also with another 5 getting lost for 20 runs in the tail, they still played around 90 overs, and they were looking so comfortable and confident to last another 15-20 overs if they had not had that kind of a collapse in the beginning and the end of the innings. So the pitch has not deteriorated one bit. There is no spin, there is no rough, and it is known that already England has played around 17-18 overs. So now that means they will have to only negotiate around maybe 10 overs in the beginning of the session today. And once the ball gets 26-27 overs, and the frontline bowlers, who happen to be our only potent bowlers, Siraj and Akashdeep, once they are through with their first spell and they look a little tired and they become a little tired, then England can actually stick out and hang in and then play out for a draw. Though it is not their natural style of play, though they don't know how to really hang in and block the balls and play out a 90 overs innings with just 7 wickets, because they know how to only hit boundaries. That only may be the flip factor for England. But then logically on this kind of a pitch, once the ball is 25 overs, playing out another 85 overs is not going to be a big deal. And if then weather elements come into picture, or bad light comes into picture, or if the Indian bowlers fail to bowl the complete quota of overs, which hardly happens in a 6 hours duration, you can only get around half an hour extra. Though it's a 5th day, there will be a mandatory 1 hour, but the bowling rate or the hour rate for the bowlers has not been ever 15 overs. So it may be a challenge for India to have those overs. And even if they get, if England really plays with a draw mentality, this pitch doesn't have anything menacing for England to rule out that option, that they can stick out and then they can hang in and they can play out the remaining say 90 overs with those 7 wickets, because they have bat deep, and you also don't expect them to have that kind of batting collapse which they had in the first innings. Yes, they have lost 3 wickets and they will be always under pressure in the first 10-15 overs, but if they can avoid the kind of thing they had in the first innings where they lost another 2 wickets early, then they can have enough batters in the heart and in the pavilion to really play out the remaining say 75 overs to draw this match. And if that happens, it would be India which has to be blamed, and Indian team management has to blame, because they batted inexplicably for so long, giving their bowlers only 108 overs. They could have so easily declared another 45 minutes earlier and would have given another 12 to 15 overs, maybe if they had declared 1 hour earlier, and 550, 540 would have been enough. But first, Jadeja played a bizarre innings in the first hour, playing such defensive innings after Pant had given a head start and had given a lead of more than 410 runs to them. I don't know for what purpose Jadeja was playing, as if they were under pressure and threat that on a batting paradise they could lose all their wickets and they may be getting all out for 430, 440, which was never going to be the case. And anyway, Subman Gill was at the other end playing such solid cricket, but Jadeja wasted an hour, and after that when they started picking up, then also they went on and on for 1 hour after tea. They could have very easily declared after 10 to 15 minutes or maximum half an hour after tea, and then they could have got another 10 overs in their kitty, and that could have really put more pressure, because instead of 72 for 3, look at the positive, India could have reduced them to around 85 for 5, and that could have been game over for England. But now they still have 7 wickets and some of the real quality batters are still there. And if India misses this opportunity, and if by chance, which looks unlikely, but if by chance England plays smart cricket and ends up with 8 to 9 wickets down at the end of the day, then India has to cup the blame and Indian team management has to answer a lot. Let's hope for India's sake it doesn't happen. Let's hope that England will have a dramatic collapse, or India bowlers will show the kind of spunk and the fire they showed in the beginning of their bowling in both the innings, and Siraj and Akashdeep would create havoc and win the test for us in the early hours today before it becomes too late. Thank you.